They say opposites attract.
Well, how about these opposites? Daddies and sons.
You're listening to Daddy and Son.
A podcast where we explore the dynamics of daddy and son relationships, multi-generational views,
and everything else in between.
Other most important lesson. Well, it's hard for me to number them, but let's say one of the most important lessons I ever learned from you. And I still am, I think I know the lesson, and then I'll walk into a situation and think that's that same lesson. And that is when people show you who they are, believe them.
Yes, absolutely. If a person says to you, I'm selfish, or I'm mean, or I am unkind.
Or I'm crazy.
Or believe them. They know themselves much better than you do.
Mm-hmm.
But no, more often than not, those of us who don't trust life say, don't say a thing like that. You're not really crazy. You're not really unkind. You're not really mean. And as soon as you say that, the person
let you know.
And shows you, I told you.
Mm-hmm.
I told you I was unkind. So now why are you angry?
So that was the voice of Maya Angelou and Oprah doing an interview in 1997 on a bed. I don't know why they were on a bed. Looked like they were having some sort of pajama party. I don't know. But they were the original influencers. But, Maya Angelou was like, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. And it's true.
Yeah, they don't always say it in words, though, do they?
It's absolutely true because, listen, and this is going to make sense in a minute who I'm talking about. Because when this person said, I'm not a Christian, people never took heed. And now they're crying, oh, they're the Antichrist. When this person said,
I know who you're talking about.
You'll never have to vote again. People never believed them. Oh, no, I thought he was just joking. And yes, who am I talking about, Norm?
Mr. T.
Exactly. POTUS himself, Donald J. Trump. And one thing that is a universal truth, and this is the words of, who said that? Was it, who
said what?
Who wrote Pride and Prejudice?
Steinbeck?
Isn't it, no, it's not Bronte.
Steinbeck?
No. But anyhow.
Hey Siri, who wrote Pride and Prejudice? Jane Austen.
Jane Austen, thank you.
Yes.
So the book opens up with the most famous line in literary history, right? And the line goes, "It is universal truth that a man with a fortune is in search for a wife. Well, it is universal truth that," and zoom out, "white people can't dance." So as far as I'm concerned, when I saw the fiasco at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and I saw the white people out of formation, you know how people always say that,
are you talking about the Secret Service agents at the gate?
Democrats, are like sheep, but when a crisis happens, Republicans fall in line. You've heard that term before, right?
No, I have not.
Yeah, well, I'm sure somebody has who's listening.
Yes.
And
if anybody's listening, have you heard that line?
the girls were definitely not in line, not line dancing.
The place was chaos. Nobody could be blamed for not dancing.
It was an absolute mess.
They didn't know if they were going to get shot. That guy, he got down the stairs. That was an open door down there. I've watched the interview. Do you know that Wolf Blitzer did an interview with one shoe on? He was up at the top and watched this whole thing happen. And I saw him talking about it on CNN the other day. It must have been scary as hell.
Allegedly. Well, one thing that I will say is that I've seen flash mobs with better coordination than the Secret Service.
I'm sure there'll be some asses kicked as a result of that.
I've seen white girl wedding receptions with better coordination. Hell, I've seen Taylor Swift have better formation on the Eras tour than the Secret Service did at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And this is why I have to highlight that this, to me, felt so performative. Do you know who Michael Glatz is?
Michael Glatz?
Yeah.
No.
So Michael Glatz, he is a Hollywood agent, big time Hollywood agent, who was there. He's famously known as the guy who just sat there and ate his salad while all the commotion was going on.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Oh, really?
And he was just eating his
Well,
food.
he didn't get much more than salad that night. No, I guess they did. They resumed dinner after that, didn't
Yeah,
they?
it was a dinner. It was a dinner.
Yeah.
Right?
For those who
It's a
stayed.
correspondence dinner.
For those
That's
who
what it is.
stayed.
For those who stayed.
Yeah.
But during the dinner, while the whole situation was going on, this guy just sat there. Famously, there's videos all over the internet. If you haven't seen it, go look him up. Michael Glatz eats his food during the White House Correspondent Dinner. Like literally everybody's screaming, running around like chickens without head, and he's just sitting there just eating his mashed potatoes without a care in the world.
Very confident that the odds were against him being, or, were against, he wasn't likely to have
Well,
a bullet
listen,
end up in his salad.
you know how they say hit dog will always holler? Sonny from The View said, this is a man who has seen, he's seen things. He's seen things in this world, and he was unbothered.
Yeah, he
and
was
you know why
yeah.
he was unbothered, Norm? Because he saw the fiasco for what it was, a show.
Well, I talked to one American the other day who said, it was all a setup. It was all a sham.
What? You don't need to convince me.
Yeah.
You don't need to convince me.
I don't believe
the girls
that.
need to get into the rehearsal
I don't
booth.
believe that because I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Conspiracy theorists have too much faith in the ability of humans to organize.
This is not about conspiracy. This is about performance, right? And like I said, I've seen better performance than I've seen 5-year-olds at their dance rehearsals have better formation. What? Vance was the first to be escorted out. Ironically, that Vance and Usha have met this shooter before.
They have?
In fact, yes. They funded one of his previous projects when he was at NASA. This is information that was publicly available before LinkedIn took down his page. This isn't like somebody who was random.
Oh, sorry, you were asking Siri for NASA information.
The way how she's
Thank you, Siri, but
be
we didn't ask you.
listening
You're eavesdropping. Shut up, Siri.
And shout out to the photographer. His name is Andy Harnick. He's from Getty Images. He was there, and I tell you, this guy was casually snapping shots during the shooting without letting down his bourbon. So he literally had his camera in one hand, his bourbon in one hand, just like taking photos. Again, I'm bothered. I'm happy there was one professional in the room, because most of these MAGA influencers and podcasters that they had there to replace the real journalists, the people who went to school for journalism, they were under the tables, turning the camera to themselves, turning their phone to them. If you're going to even be taking footage of the situation, why turn your phone to yourself? We don't need to see you.
Well, I would want to
turn it around so we can see what's happening.
Yeah, you're making history when you're doing that, right?
So thank God there was one professional who was inside the room, sipping his bourbon and doing his job as he should. So shout out to him. And to
Kentucky bourbon is very good, by the way. It's a shame we can't get any here in Ontario.
For now, did you hear Carney said that part of the deals that will be possibly made is lifting the ban on U.S. alcohol? Girl, I don't know how much difference
decision, but anyway,
it's a province.
Yes, exactly.
First of all, and secondly, it's not even the province's decision. You know whose decision it is?
It's Ford's.
It's ours. It's ours. Because you know who we're not going into the LCB and picking up US liquor anymore until the Cheetos out of the office? Me. I'm sorry, but no. I found a new
Well, look, the
interest in Canadian whiskey. And I'm not gonna say it's world
Crown Royal,
class.
Crown Royal,
But you know,
Crown Royal is world class.
Crown Royal hits really well with a splash of water or some soda, which was Margaret Thatcher's favorite drink, by the way. It hits really well.
Well, you know, the colonies have learned to produce very good alcohol.
So I'm really happy that there were professionals who were in the room. Some of these would-be journalists. Did you see that they were literally fist full grabbing alcohol and running out?
May I ask a question?
There's
How do you know all
footage.
that? Where have you watched all this stuff?
Footage on the internet.
On YouTube or
like a
on-
regular person.
Well, I watch the news. I guess I don't need to see the details of all what happened there. I know it was a confusing time. It was a scary time. But it sounds like you got a lot of entertainment value from watching these.
Well, because that is
slideshows.
exactly what it was.
So
it
where
was
do you
meant
go-
to be entertainment.
Where do you go to get this?
You know what?
Is it Reddit
In fact,
or is it?
you asked me. Let me answer you. It's a good thing that you asked. It was Reddit, and particularly there is a subreddit called Diet Prada. So shout out to Diet Prada.
Yes, and this is the week for Prada 2, by the way.
I know
Prada too.
the release of America.
They're sold out for 3 days in London, I learned today.
I bet the girls in the UK are already.
Oh.
Like I was speaking to Lewis, and Lewis is like, "Yeah, I'm gonna gather the cats and the cats and see if they're free this weekend to go see Devil Wears
Well,
Prada."
they aren't going to get any, unless he's got a booking, they ain't going to get no tickets. But anyway,
I don't know. When there's a will, there's a way. But
my ex told me that too.
Diet Prada
He's seen
on
it 15 times.
what? When there's a will, there's a way.
The Devil Wears Prada 1.
Oh,
Yes.
I was gonna say, if somebody tells you when there's a will, there's a way, that person's trying to kill you.
Oh.
But I digress. So the Diet Prada is out here doing the Lord's work because they actually captured or compiled. They went on the internet. All the footage of the influencers who were there that caught footage, they did a compilation of all the various footage that people had out there, and I was able to see for what it is with my own eyes. So you heard me say there's a universal truth and then there's facts, right? So here are the facts. A U.S. federal judge, his name is Richard Leon, he ruled that President Donald J. Trump cannot proceed with the $400 million White House ballroom project and demolish the East Wing without congressional approval. And this judge stated that the president acted beyond his authority, ruling that he's a steward and not the owner of the White House. But shit.
Very correct.
If I didn't have any intention of leaving somewhere, I'd fix it up too. So the judge says that Trump attends the White House correspondent dinner for the first time since he's been, president. He never attended before, not this time, not in his previous presidency.
This was his first time.
Because he's always said the journalists, the fake news journalists are what? Enemy of the people. The same night, Caroline Levitt says shots will be fired in the pre-dinner interview, and the gunman somehow makes it with a major weapon into the building, past security. Shots are then fired, and he's taken into custody. The same night, Trump goes on air, immediately holds a press conference, and says that this is exactly where we need to have a White House ballroom. You can come to your own conclusions.
Well, as if an outside group like the correspondents are going to hold their function in the White House. No, I don't think so.
No, it's too large of an event to host at the White House anyway.
It wouldn't matter if it was perfect. It would be inappropriate for them to do so. The White House is for state and business government stuff. It's not for, an association to have its members You go to hotels for that. You go to clubs for that. Anyway.
And now you have all these House Republican members lining up one by one saying, I am going to put forward an order immediately on Monday morning for the White House to be built. This is why we need it. This is why we need it. I'm sorry, wasn't it supposed to be $200 million? And wasn't it supposed to be paid for by his buddies Ellison and Zuckerberg and Bezos? Wasn't it supposed to be paid by tech bro money? How all of a sudden it's now taxpayers' money that is supposed to be paying for the ballroom? And how does it have an extra $200 million attached to it?
Well, it ain't going to get built. Trust me. It ain't going to get built.
So they just destroyed Melania's office for no reason.
Yes. And you know what? She doesn't work there anyway. She works from home.
From Mar-a-Lago?
Sometimes, yeah. But you know what? Americans don't really care about that. Well, what they do is they look at they look at the price of gas. They look at the Iran war and they say, WTF is Mr. Trump doing, spending all that taxpayer money on a useless room when I don't have money for healthcare, for farms, for all the kinds of other things. And that is going to bring him down in November big time.
According to him, affordability is a hoax. It's a Democrat hoax.
Well, he's going to find different.
Well, my highlight for that night, I don't know what the highlight was for you, but my highlight was Erga Kirk crying, tattoo tears, walking out saying, I just want to go home. And, Miss Erica KKK Kirk. No, seriously, have you ever noticed that her name Erica, most people spell Erica with a C. She spells hers with a K.
Yeah.
So she has 3 Ks in her name.
Uh-oh. Are they all in a row?
Erica Kirk. KKK.
That was a good joke. You didn't laugh right away.
You can't, because it's impolite to laugh at you. I laugh at your own jokes, Norm.
Well, you're supposed to laugh, and I'm waiting for you. But anyway,
she literally was out here
Score
crying.
One for Norm.
Oh, just want to go home.
Well, go home.
And I'm like, you know how many White House events she was supposed to go to? And she's turned it down because, including events that she was supposed to do with Vance, her boyfriend, and she turned it down because she said that the security wasn't enough and how she just lost her husband. So how is it that she ended up going to the White House Correspondents' Dinner?
My question is, who invited her? It wasn't the president.
Well, she says that she said she went because these members of the press, they always have shit to say about her and her husband. So she wanted to as I'm sorry, sidebar. That's a really nice watch you're wearing. Is that a Movado?
It is, yes. Somebody invited her. Who invited her there?
Well,
because she's not a member of the press.
She said that she went to confront the press head on because they be talking shit about her. And in the same breath, while she was saying that, she was firing shots at Candace Owens. And she wasn't the only one either.
You have become very, very hyped on American politics in the last little while.
Well, you know what? I like to see...
It's great entertainment, you got to admit, right?
Well, I like to see when the snake eats its own tail. I do. I really, really do. When Trump came on the same day and as Erica Kirk went on the Charlie Kirk show, sneak dissing Candace Owens, Trump did the same thing on Truth Social and posted an AI picture of Candace Owens in a do-rag. Now, if anybody who knows anything about black culture, they know that is basically a slur. That's basically the AI image of somebody using the N-word with a hard ER at the end. Because this is the same person who always complain about people using AI about him, but it took nothing for him to go online and put up an AI picture of Candace Owens in a do-rag, saying, and I quote, Candace Owens stock, which has never been very high, has fallen a long way. Her attack on the First Lady, my wife, Melania, was horrible. Is her attack on the First Lady of France despicable? I believe in this case,
Your imitation of
without
Trump is not as good as Stephen Colbert's.
verification, she's extremely low IQ individual. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
He's,
And
why are we talking about Trump?
well, here's the
move
thing.
on.
I'll tell you why we're talking about Trump.
I'm tired of Trump.
Because his decisions do affect us all. And you know what?
That's true.
We're talking about it because I want to talk about it and how it is affecting me. Now, Candace Owens, and the people want to know. The people want to hear what is it that Daddy thinks and Alex thinks. Now, very much, this is Candace Owens' response to this pre-recorded Erica Kirk show. She said, very uncomfortable to watch, painful prompt to read, a speech clearly written by someone else, objectively terrible, so they will now pay for people to tell us otherwise. So, of everything I've said about Erica Kirk, she chooses to respond to something I never said. They always lie. And when people correct them and point out that they've lied, they will inevitably tell us it's our fault for noticing because she's lost her husband. It's a merry-go-round from hell. I'm sorry, but you know what? It wasn't more than, and I have receipts, as you can see here. I pulled up the tweets, I have the receipts. It was 2018 when Candace Owens posted, and I quote, I truly believe that the real Donald J. Trump isn't just the leader of the free world, but the savior of it as well.
Uh-oh.
God bless America, the last stand for Western civilization. So when Trump is not out here putting her on blast, you know who is not going to feel sorry for her? Me.
Uh-oh.
In the words of that old lady when she got robbed, I don't know if you remember the news. You remember the news report with the old lady in the wheelchair? She's like, am I supposed to feel sorry for that bitch? Because I don't. That's me with Candace Owens. So shout out to Funky Dineva on Instagram. Miss Funky Dineva said, I want to see a non-black person come to her defense. Not a single one. She had no problem disparaging the black community to gain white conservative applause. Let this bitch drown. We've been trying to tell this girl that they don't give a damn about her outside the usefulness to them. She has no community to turn to. The whites are turning on her faster than milk spoils, and the black community doesn't trust or like her ass. Leave her out there alone in the cold to suffer all the social repercussions of her self-hate. Good luck, Candace. And you know what? I agree. I'm here for that 100%. And the top comment, minding my 92% business.
Well, I confess I don't know enough about
Well,
her
that's
or
because
the topic.
you get your news from CNN and Fox and MSNBC.
Not much Fox.
I get my news from the streets. I get my news from underground reporters, the jungle, the guerrilla journalism, the people who have their
But
phones
it's
or on
trivia.
the streets.
It's trivia.
Trivia?
Yeah.
Trivia.
What you just talked about was trivia. It's basically, it's like the newspapers at the checkout.
You know what is so funny that you should say it's trivia? Candace Owens and Joe Rogan are the two most listened to people in all of America.
Joe Rogan for sure.
They get over Candace Owens, her podcast gets over 44 million listens a week.
Mm-hmm.
A week.
So what's
That is over 10% of the United States population. And
more than that?
let us put things into perspective. It wasn't traditional media that got Trump elected. It was podcasts.
Who's Joe Rogan?
It was the podcasts and the manosphere that got Trump elected. So So when are you going to say that it is trivial or that it's trivia? Let me explain something to you. Traditional news media, it's dying. In fact, no, it's dead. You know who are the influencers that people who are running for presidency are running to get interviews, to get visibility by the masses? It's not MSNBC.
But what are they?
It's the
but what are
Candace
these-
Owens.
But are these people
and the
talking
Joe
about?
Rogans.
But are these people talking about real issues that concern people? You know, the cost of gas, the cost of raising kids, the daycare. Like that's what they need to be talking about right now, because that's where the pain is in America right now.
I agree.
I don't know what Candace Owens...
completely agree.
I've never heard Candace Owens speak before, so I don't know what she even says.
Well, again, that's because
Joe Rogan, yes.
You're
And he's-
in the other side. You're in
No,
a
but
side of the streets that is very.
I'm more into Joe Rogan because he's talked about on the traditional media, and he's talked about how he's moving back away from Trump. You know, he's got some problems with Trump's position on a few
What?
issues.
Wasn't
Yeah.
he at Trump's office last week, Thursday, literally licking his ass, opening up his ass crack and putting his tongue all the way in, asking him about legalizing marijuana, and Trump being like, oh, I gotta get on this. And
You
he
know,
was shaking
it's
Trump's
interesting.
hand.
I didn't even know that. So we really do have totally different avenues of information for the U.S. What about for Canada? We haven't talked much about Canada tonight.
Well, you know what? That is actually a very good segue. You saying that we haven't spoken about Canada, because I like how, like, when you bounce back and forth, but don't worry, we're going to talk about Canada. We're going to talk about Canada.
But I'm curious to know where you get your news about Canada, because I know where you get your news
I
about
get my
the
news
US.
about Canada the same place I get my news about the United States.
Okay.
I get my news
So Reddit?
from multiple sources. I get my news from traditional news sources like the National Post, Globe and Mail, and CBC, but I also get a lot of my news from social media, through Reddit, through Instagram, through X.
And do you select certain people to listen to, or is it all come? How does it come to you?
I would say part of it, I would say maybe 1/3 is my algorithm, and then the rest are select people that I follow.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's where you and you're following people I don't either choose to follow or know about, or just haven't bothered
Or
to.
just various subreddits, hell.
Yeah. But I do get stuff on Reddit, but I find, like, this is, what the hell does this have to do with me?
Like FOMOI subreddit, really good. 505050 Canada, really good. Subreddit Ontario, perfect.
What's the one on Ontario? What's it called?
It's just called Ontario.
Oh,
Perfect. Like traditional news journalists would they would post on that subreddit, including journalist students and also poli-science influencers will also post in that subreddit. So it's a very robust subreddit to be in to get underground information. And again,
you should give me a test.
traditional news media, especially right now in the United States, a lot of them from CNN to CBS,
They're all biased against
they're
Trump.
all biased against Trump.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm sorry, me personally,
getting tired of that,
I'm
by the
not
way.
going
I'm
to
tired of that.
because they're not reporting on a lot of things that people are talking about, and things,
I agree. You're right about
things
that.
can be nuanced. We can walk and chew gum at the same time. In my case, I can also care about pocketbook issues and also be entertained by the mess of the political party. I can. And also for
And there's a
people
lot of
who
mess.
for people who live in the United States, they can also care about the price of gas, which they very much do, and still at the same time
Last year it was the price of eggs they were worried about.
be not a word
Lot
of a
more
lie.
money goes
You
into
see
your
how-
gas
you see
tank
how
than
things,
into your
so
eggs.
quickly things change.
Yeah.
They can still care about the price of eggs, the price of gas, and also care about the fact that the presidency is not releasing the Epstein files, and that he's going on 60 Minutes and saying it's a disgrace because I'm not a pedophile. They can care about multiple things at once. Humans aren't single track minded, Norm. We are meant to multitask.
Oh,
We're
really?
flexible.
Are you telling me something I'm supposed to not know?
We're flexible mammals, Norm. So, you know what? Let's cross the border.
Ooh.
and head over into some Canadian mess.
Oh,
So let me ask you a question.
mess. We don't have a mess in Canada. We're orderly and quiet and
Speak for yourself.
deferential.
So, quick question. Before I get into today's main topic, how have you been? Because I haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, it's been almost a month, right? I mean, you've been away.
I know.
I've been busy.
I had a really good time. And for those of you who don't know what you're listening to, let me remind you, if you missed the intro, this is Daddy and Son.
Honey, there was no intro. You jumped right into something else.
Oh, no, we have an intro. We always have an intro to the show. You're listening to Daddy and Son. We always have an intro. You just don't hear it, but we always have an intro.
Well,
That's why you need to get a new headset, a proper headset,
baloney.
so you can hear the intro. But let me remind the girls, I'm Son, aka Alex.
Norm, Daddy.
Yeah, and he's
I'm the
my
intelligent-
daddy.
I'm the
he's your
intelligent one.
daddy. Who's your daddy? I don't know who your daddy is, but my daddy is Norm. And
Oh, sweet.
And the question I have for you, Daddy. So, what does cheating, love bombing, Judas, and Celia Black all have in common?
Judas, cheating,
Love bombing,
love bombing, and
Celia Black.
I don't know. What?
Well, they all have floor crossing in common.
Floor crossing. I should have known that.
Surprise, surprise.
Yes. You have some names.
Well,
So let's talk floor. Now, an American might not know what a floor crossing is. We got to.
well, you know what? That's fair. So let me explain to what floor crossing is, because I know it sounds like it's like a dance move.
And
or,
think of parliamentary government. Think of one side and the other side.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Although honestly, the choreography up in Ottawa these days is kind of questionable. Speaking of why people can't dance, but that's a conversation for another time. Now, people will have you believe that floor crossing, it's originated from Canada's parliament from like the 1800s, but it's way further than that. Floor crossing goes all the way back, like sands through the hourglass. We can look back to the biblical times.
Oh,
I mean, times when we had open toe sandals. Open toe sandals. Yeah, I've been
even
watching
barefoot.
I've been watching House of David, a little bit inspired by the biblical times. House of David? It's on Prime.
where do you have time to do all this stuff?
Well,
Well, I've been watching a lot of hockey lately. So
we all have the same 24 hours, Daddy. I use my 24 hours.
It's NHL playoffs
to,
time.
to
I'm
do
sorry.
research. You use your 24 and work, and you use your 24 hours to work and watch hockey
and nap on the couch.
and take macro naps. Now, why Judas was basically the first original floor crosser, believe it or not, because instead of changing parties, he switched up on Jesus Christ for political reasons. For coins.
Judas Iscariot. That's not a floor crossing.
For
That's a
coins and
betrayal.
chaos.
That's a betrayal. That's not a floor
And
crossing.
what is a floor crossing if not a betrayal?
Well,
What?
let's talk about floor crossings in the political context. There's a lot of reasons for crossing the floors. It's not all betrayal. I did my research today.
No, I have to remember that 1/3 of our audience are people between the ages of 16 to 18. So I have to break it down for the kids. Think about the children, Norm. Think
They're
about
not
the children.
They're young people. They're young guys and maybe some girls out there learning about the world.
Well, yeah, if you're under 21, you're a child. But I digress. This isn't new. This has been happening since the Confederation. Like literally since Sir John A. Macdonald was running the show. You remember him. You were probably alive at that time.
Well, not really. 1867, not quite. Not quite.
You were around during that time, weren't you, Daddy? But anyhow, And even he was collecting floor crossings like Pokemon cards back then, with a total of 9 floor crossings during one session. If you don't know about it, then now you know.
That's
you
amazing.
Can look it up.
I didn't know that. No, you've done a lot of good historical research here.
Every time, because I need to give you the background, the bigger picture.
So you're saying floor crossing is nothing new in a parliamentary
It's
system.
absolutely nothing new. But every time it seems to happen, Canadians lose their minds. And look, I think this is what lack of understanding of civics can do. There are only 2 provinces in all of Canada that civics in school is required. And one of them, which is Ontario, it's only for 1 semester. I'm talking about today. I don't know about what life looked like when you were a kid living in Niagara Falls.
Grade 10, and it was the whole year.
Well, now it's only 1 semester.
Well, okay, so yeah, no.
And the Ford government is trying to take it out completely.
By the way, did you know that I was the Prime Minister? I was the Premier of Ontario in my civics class.
You know who I was in my civics class? I was
Senator.
I was Antonio from the not the, the Merchant of Venice.
That wasn't exactly a parliamentary government, but I take your point. Antonio the Merchant.
So
That was a play, not a politician thing. Anyway, go ahead.
well, this is how they teach us civics in the UK.
I played Bob Cratchit in A Christmas Carol in grade 6.
What was the real world applicability to A Christmas Carol? To teach you kindness and not to be mean,
Yeah, good stuff.
and yet still end up becoming a conservative. Tisk. I'm just joking. And not to offend, because I know I have lots of conservatives who listen to this show. And please, when I make these jokes, it's not
all
for
in
you.
jest. It's all in jest.
A hit dog will always holler. So if you know it doesn't apply to you, just laugh. Just go with it. So, back in 2006, the Harper government, they benefited from floor crossings. Do you know who David Emerson is?
Yes.
Okay, good. You want to tell the kids who he is real quick?
Well, I think he was a BC member of Parliament.
Correct.
And he flipped over to the Liberals.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, also while facing several attempts to ban and restrict the practice, he switched from the Liberal Party to join Stephen Harper's cabinet just weeks after being elected as a Liberal.
No, that's right. I had it wrong. I thought he went to the Liberals.
Oh, no, he was a Liberal, yes, but he switched over to the Conservative Party. So, what I'm talking about is in 2012, there was a bill called Bill C-306, and this was brought to the floor by an NDP MP called David Christopherson. You know him?
No.
Okay, so
remember.
let me tell you about this goat. So he decided that, floor crossings, I don't like it. It's a little bit unfair. It's not what the people vote for. Fair conversation that the conservatives are having now. It's not what people voted for. So at the time, he represented Hamilton Centre, and he proposed that if an MP had crossed the floor to another party, they should be required to A, resign from their seat, B, trigger a by-election, and then C, rerun under the new party banner in which they have adopted, but not the previous party banner in which they were elected under. And all seems fair. Seems fair, right?
It sounds reasonable, yeah.
Yeah, reasonable.
A lot of extra money and time, but yeah, I mean, if you're prepared to do it, then in other words, you don't wait till the next election. You do it right away. That's what he's saying.
Absolutely. You stand in it.
And what happened to that little idea?
So that's a good question.
I bet you it went down the
So
the
let me
same
tell you what
place
happened. So why is this still happening today? Because I'll tell you why.
It's in the Ottawa
The bill was
River.
debated and ultimately defeated at the second reading, and they voted.
Which means it didn't get out of committee.
Absolutely not. The vote was 146 to 139. A vast majority of Conservative MPs voting nay. The Conservative Party and which was the
That was
government.
a close vote. That was a very
close vote.
Yeah.
The Conservative Party, they were the government at the time, and effectively, they had Crip walk all over that bill. You get it?
Well,
Crip walk because they're blue.
Yeah. Guess what? If the Liberals had been in power, the Liberals would have voted against it. Any party benefiting, and let's look, I did a little number crunching.
Well,
the Liberals have gained way more than the Conservatives
here's the thing, Norm.
on floor crossers. So
that's not the conversation that we're having. The conversation that we're having is the big picture conversation.
Well, the big picture is how many of each has happened in the last 20, 30 years. I've done a little number crunching.
I'm glad you asked.
A lot more.
Well, since you've done your homework, would you like to tell the class?
Well, let me tell you. And are you the teacher? Or are you just we're sharing this here? Yeah, the Canadian Parliament now total floor crossers in the last 25 years in Canada, 80 MPs. Mm-hmm. Do you know what it's been in the UK? Between 15 and 20. Amazing difference. It's a much more of a
they're
thing
loyalists
here.
over there. And also, I will say that their parliamentary, the Westminster parliamentary system is a lot less influenced by U.S. policy than our parliamentary system is here.
Well, I would say that number one, we've had more of a one-party system here in Canada, so there's more incentive for somebody in the opposition to go over to the Liberals.
That's also fair. That's also a fair statement to make.
In the UK,
well.
You've had a lot more back and forth, but I would like to hear your MP's Lewis's opinion on that one, because that's interesting. It's quite a difference, really. I mean, wow.
Well, here's the thing. At the time, the NDPs who had introduced the bill, they voted for majority of the yeas, and some Liberals and Independents also voted yeas. Mm-hmm. So many Conservatives, including Pierre Poilievre, at the time, had voted against the ban, arguing that MPs should be free to exercise independent judgment and are not owned by a party.
And isn't it funny? He sure doesn't believe that right now, does he?
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, well, that's the life of a politician. Depending on what side of the fence you're on, is how you vote.
Well, here's the thing, and it's so ironic you should mention that, because
remember, I worked for one.
Sidebar.
Yeah.
What do you think of sidebar? We'll get back to this, but sidebar. What do you think of Ford's gravy plane?
Gravy plane?
The gravy plane, yes.
He sold it wrong. After he got rid of it, after he sold it back to the vendor, he said, this was for the people of Ontario, for ministers to go up north, to do this and do that. And I thought, well, it didn't start out that way. It was supposed to just be for you, and nobody wants it just for you. I personally don't have a problem with that, because I think the premier needs security and should be able to get up to a plane anytime. But hey, listen, others...
Preach. No, you're saying things. I agree with you.
Look at the feds; they have a whole bunch of these challengers. They used to call them challengers. And when I worked up in Ottawa, I mean, I knew people that worked for ministers, and they were always jutting off in these damn planes all over the country. They didn't have to fly Air Canada.
Oh, I agree. What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
But for our leadership need certain flexibility and urgency that we should be able to afford. I think it's small time to be worrying about 20.
Oh, I absolutely agree. I think that the public was a little bit far-sighted, nearsighted.
They were
short-sighted. That's the word I'm looking for.
They were colored by his elitist tendencies with respect to the waterfront. And with all these other gimmicks, all these other gimmicks, all these Richie stuff. Yeah, if he hadn't crossed those bridges before, people would have said, "Well, I mean, playing for the premier and a few other cabinet ministers makes sense."
Yeah, because this is not something like the plane that Trump got from Qatar that's going to go to his private library. This is going to be the plane for the premier's office, and I don't expect him to be premier for much longer. So I definitely think that this would have been a good thing for future premiers like myself.
Honey, you like flying business class too much. You're not going to fly in a stupid little government plane.
So, all I think that has ended up happening is that he sold it back to them, and then basically it got bought by one of his buddies, and he's still going to have a private plane to fly around with. But essentially...
No, I hadn't heard that. Did you get this off your
But
Reddit or your
essentially,
other...
all it's going to be
others?
is that our money is just going to go to his private buddies to pay for, fuel and accommodation, but he's just going to still fly around like a king, rather than that be kept into the office of the premier. So this for me is where I feel like we were a little bit short-sighted, and we should have just allowed him to do it. And
Small-minded is the way I would put it. Yeah.
So
Well, we actually agree on something. Daddy and son actually agreed on something this evening, folks. That is we should put that on the headline of our show tonight.
I need to drop on a close bomb for that one. So, anyways, so back to floor crossings. So
You're not a big fan of it, though, are you?
I haven't given my thought process on floor crossing yet.
Well,
but I
not
will.
here, but you've told me that. You've
will.
told me that. Yeah.
I will. So here's the thing. Flash forward to Q1 of 2026 and Q1 mid-quarter. It's a business speak. I'm talking to Daddy, so I have to.
I know what Q1 means. Remember, I have an MBA.
I know you know, but I'm talking about the kids. Think about the children, Norm. Because
the sons out there.
Because I'm talking to
young
you, I have to
sons.
speak in business terms.
Ooh.
So, we have not one, not two, but 5 floor crossings that has happened thus far. And this makes, and no pun intended, this marks
Mr. Carney.
This marks, I don't know why that tickles me so much, a historic movement, because unlike previous prime ministers who's held majorities regardless of the factors, Carney is the first to achieve a major government largely through floor crossings. So let's name them, shall we? First, we have Michael Ma.
Who cares about the names? I mean,
the kids need to know their history. They don't get civics at school, so let's
not
give
going to
them
remember a
civics
detail
here.
like that. These are.
And you know what the blessing is? It's a podcast. They can always go and re-listen to it. Like when you
They
tell
can
me,
hit fast
I
forward.
never said that.
They can hit fast forward too.
They can also do that.
Hit fast forward, guys. This isn't important.
They can always
Carry
do
on.
that.
Carry on.
They can always do that. They can always fast forward too.
Let me check the score of the hockey game for a minute, please.
So, you have the Michael Ma, who represents Markham Thornhill region. He's a former conservative.
Which is a very conservative part of. It's the 905 belt in the Toronto area.
It's so funny. You should be like, oh, nobody cares about this. Nobody cares about this. You know how many people in this country in this city don't even know who their MPs are?
Well, like you said earlier, civics is not a big thing.
Okay, so why are you deterring me from talking about it? Just because you want to check the hockey game scores?
I'm not
Who
deterring.
is stopping you from checking the hockey game scores, Norm?
I'm deterring you from just listing the names. I mean, that's interesting. But
Well, that's a you problem. To the rest of us who
I
want to
would tell
learn,
you the woman who went about a week or two ago.
rude.
What's her name? The one from BC who is just anti-liberal, and then she flips. That's the one that's really outstanding. Now, why don't you name her?
Okay, so we're gonna get to that.
Oh, okay.
Relax.
Okay.
Matt Jonahu. So he's from Edmonton, Riverbend in Alberta. He's a former conservative.
And that's a very conservative area of the country, by the way.
Absolutely. And in February 2026, he cited that he sees Carney's economic vision. Chris D'Entremont, he's from West Nova Scotia, and he's a former conservative as well. Joined the party in late 2025. Laurie Idulu from Nunavut. She's a former NDP, the one which is the one you're talking about, and she joined.
No, I'm talking about a conservative.
In March 2026, and she said that this was to better advocate for Arctic issues within the government because the conservatives didn't give a shit about the Arctic. And Marlene Gledoux,
That's the one.
So she is from, and she's
She's
a
from a-
long time hardcore conservative.
Sarnia? Is she from Sarnia?
Yes.
Yes,
Some
okay.
Sarnia.
Which is Tory country.
And she
Reformed
said,
country.
she said after his basically buying his leadership, I'm talking about PP, in the last leadership election, she said the Conservative Party needs serious leadership amongst international trade threats. So she doesn't think that Pierre Poilievre is the man for the job. So she switched party lines. Now, we have some valid arguments here. I've heard Pierre Poilievre, he's specifically stated that this is a dirty backroom deal. I suggested that Carney is manipulating the democratic process rather than, earning a mandate through an election. I've heard other conservative influencers in Canada who come across my algorithm, who come across my feed. They have said to me that, in the back and forth in the comment sections, they've cited in the internet streets, we didn't vote for this. This is a slap in the face to conservatives and members of the constituents, arguing that, while previous PMs like Harper, they accepted floor crossings, they never used it to manufacture a majority government. That voters had explicitly denied.
It's got more importance right now because of the impact of it.
And, that's rich coming from them saying it's a slapping the face to voters, because last time I checked, didn't Pierre Poilievre lose the trust of his constituents for over 20 years and they voted him out, so he was no longer an MP?
Well, yeah, but that's not a floor
So
crossing.
then he went to a bellwether constituent to push somebody else who the people
that's right. You
voted
didn't
for
like that, yeah.
to run for a belection so he can get re-elected.
Okay.
Isn't that a slap in the face to
Can
voters?
I offer an opinion here, since I do have a little airtime? It's politics. What Pierre Poilievre did to get back in the House, what a floor crosser does, they will have their comeuppance. They will have a chance.
Not you quoting your mom again.
Yes, they will have to run or not run in the riding where they. The one thing about floor crossing is you don't change where you live and where you represent.
Unless you're Pierre Poilievre.
And well, that's not. Well, he was crossing a country. He wasn't crossing the floor. He wasn't even in the parliament at that point, right? I mean,
from sea to shining sea. But anyways, go on.
From Ontario to Alberta, he didn't get that far as a sea. But I remember I worked for an MP years ago, and I remember when a guy crossed. He left the Tories and went to the Liberals. And he was a front bencher. He was a prominent conservative. And I heard the discussion afterwards from the caucus. Our MP shared secret discussions about what this guy said. And he just said, I don't think this is the place I want to work. Like some really down heart believe this I'm not comfortable with this. I can't do this job and represent my people. There's a lot of different reasons why people do it. It's part of the political system.
Well, here's the thing. This didn't have to be the case. Again, I'll revert back to the year of warlord 2012. This did not have to be the case. It's a very much a legal move underneath the Parliament of Canada Act, and conservatives very much had an opportunity to block this. But they were what?
You mean to vote for the NDP legislation?
Yes, but they what? Were short-sighted.
They were also short numbers, so they wanted floor crossers.
You see how this comes full circle?
Yeah.
What did Maya Angelou said? When someone tells you who they are, believe them. And this is why it comes full circle back to Maya Angelou. Believe these people when they tell you who they are the first time, whether they're liars or cheaters or just straight up hypocrites. Let me tell you something. If I was in public office and something like this came across my desk, I'm not thinking about the here and now. And you may think that I'm saying this because it's easy for me to say it because I'm not the one in the hot seat. But honestly, Norm, just like I said to you right now about the gravy plane, I definitely do believe that okay, what is good for the goose is good for the gander, because in politics, the pendulum always shifts.
It does swing
never
back.
stay in one place. It always shifts.
Yeah.
That's how the Tories in the UK lost their majority. That's how they lost their seat. That's how they
Well, they had a lousy prime minister.
well, it was more than that.
Yeah.
It was more. It
And
wasn't.
by the way, the Labour people have a lousy one right now,
and
don't
they do. They
Yeah.
absolutely do.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. And it wasn't that they didn't have a lousy leader before. It wasn't. But people were like, I just want a change.
Yeah.
They forget.
And people do want change.
People forget. They get complacent. They get comfortable. They said the same thing about Joe Biden. The same thing happened in Australia. The same thing happened in Argentina. People get complacent and then they forget how bad it was under the opposite side of the fence. So the pendulum will always shift. So the way I
Son,
see...
you are an astute observer of the political realities of life.
Thank you. The way how I see it is that when somebody proposes something that benefits one group, you best believe that it can come back to benefit you in the future or harm you. So when you're thinking of voting one way, stop, think, evaluate, do the necessary work.
Most people don't do that much thinking about voting before they vote. Most people, it's a gut feel.
And this is why
you and I spend a lot of time thinking about it because we're observers of the political scene.
It needs to be more than just your gut, though. This is where we need to bring civics back in school.
Oh, I agree. I think
we need to have
ignorant.
these conversations more, so the kids that are listening to the show can learn and understand.
Why don't we teach a civics class somewhere?
You know what? That would be a good volunteer opportunity. I think so.
I mean, I could be the teacher and you could be the student. Sorry. Hey,
I'm open to it.
Hey, listen.
Even though I, and this is no shade, I honestly feel like this is one of the situations where the student will end up teaching the teacher. And that's okay.
I think you think that about just about everything. I think that life is about learning, and the thing is to be open all the time, just as I am when I come here and I learn about the stuff that you're reading and thinking. I think, WTF does he know that?
Well, I will say this, and this is one of the things that I do admire about you, is that even though you're a man of a different time, and the influences of your time does show in the things that you talk about, the way you speak, the things that you dismiss, but I will say that you're a very open individual.
The things I dismiss,
and I do
like that.
admire that about you. You're not quite a Luddite in comparison to your peers. And
I'm not quite a Luddite. I'm close to one, but not quite one. Well, thank you for that vote of confidence.
And this is one of the things I absolutely love about you.
That's sweet.
And that's why I call you friend.
I quite reach your hand. I can't quite reach your hand.
Somebody's hand. And with that being said, is there any final words you want to say before we wrap up today? Because I'm done. I've said all I needed to say about this bullshit.
I would just say that at 6 p.m. every night, there is news, weather, and sports. Spend less time on the news, more on the weather, and a lot more on the sports. Especially at
You're such a jock. You are such a jock.
And with that is all I had to say for this evening.
All right. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you've made it all the way to the end, follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and then subscribe to our YouTube channel at Daddy and Son Podcast. Remember, we are also available on the iHeartRadio app. So go download the free iHeartRadio app. You can listen to music, other podcasts, and support our show as well. If you have any questions for the show, send them over to daddyandsonpodcast@gmail.com. That is DADDYANDSON podcast@gmail.com. Until next time, sons, be good to your daddies.
And daddies, be kind to your sons.